Today, we are very honored to have Yulia, the co-founder and the CEO from Zignify Global Product Sourcing, to join us and share her insights on how you can, source your product well, and what are the tips and hopefully some tricks that you should be aware of as a seller yourself to, get your products right. All right, and then also for myself, I'm actually the trainer from Amazon Seller Education, so I will be sharing some bits of Amazon related, I would say, content regarding on how you can, successfully launch your products in terms of what are the features available in the Seller Central that you can leverage. All right, as for Yulia, we'll share about, what other, sourcing strategies that you can take up in your selling on Amazon journey. Okay, now without further ado, I will move on to the next slide. I hope I'm audible and all of you can see the slide. If not, let us know in the question box on your right-hand side. All right, so I just type it in the box as well in case really you can't even hear me, then try to reconnect back, all right? Okay, now just some important notice. You can take a quick read on this for everyone out there. Right, and once again, so to quickly introduce Yulia again and her company. So it's founded in 2020, but the founder, working in the industry since 2005. All right, so Zignify Global Product Sourcing is a company with, I believe, 20 over plus languages, and they provide streamlined and sustainable sourcing and procurement services across the globe to especially Amazon sellers like yourself, even for business founder and other established brands worldwide. All right, and then there's a huge team of over 40 plus female sourcing specialists, and I believe it's going to grow a lot more according to Yulia, and they are all located in the different parts of the world to help seller to source product not only in Asia but worldwide. So pretty sure later Yulia will even give you a even better introduction of what her company can even provide in terms of the services to help seller to grow your business on Amazon. And this is what the team I'm in. It's called the Seller Education Team. So we provide like free educational training to sellers from a variety of their selling journey. All right, and then one of the common word you always hear is the Amazon Seller University. That is something available free to all seller when you have a selling account. Or you can access that under the navigation learn. There will be short videos, short documents, and also training, I would say, content that will help you to keep track of your learning progress. And the other one will be the one that you're attending live now, which is the live webinar. So you get to interact with special guests or myself, and then you get your questions answered during the webinar session itself. So we do have recording, so if you can't attend the session live, our recording is also available in our official YouTube playlist. It's actually on the side of the chat as well. The URL is there. All right, and then again, if you have questions, let us know in the question box. Those of you who shared your question in the registration form, I've already extracted in the morning. But if I miss it out during the Q&A session later, do let us know in the question box. We will also be answering those questions that is being input during this session, okay? So if you're watching this recording in the YouTube channel, do always refer back to the...
Hi, my name is Yulia. Let's go like kindergarten style. I come from Russia. I used to live in China for 9 years. I spent a few years in Singapore. I did my MBA. I've been working in product sourcing for the last 19 years, since around about 2005. So, time flies. And I started a company called Zignify Global Product Sourcing a few years ago. And the reason for this was not that, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, I want to start my own business. No, I was doing sourcing on the side for many years. And a lot of my old customers started coming back to me and saying, help, Corona, China is closed, what are we going to do? So this is how the business has started. And actually, right now, we're not 40 plus people, we're about 60 plus women and my husband. So we're an all-female team and my husband. We do sourcing all across the globe. We work with many, many different customers, from the people who do not have Amazon as their main job, but as a side hustle, and they want to grow something on the side for themselves, to large multinational corporations. For example, Amazon is one of our customers, and we help them with some of the sourcing points. It is also extremely important to mention that I'm an Amazon seller myself since 10 years ago, right? 10 years ago, we were living in Singapore and we launched on the European market. Currently, we have 2 brands. I'll give you an example. This is a lead from our second brand. Yeah, so I know how it is from both sides, from the side of being an Amazon seller, an Amazon customer who buys a lot from Amazon, of course, and of course helps with the sourcing. So we have very little time, so let's jump right into it. So a few things that I will mention before going into more basic things that will help you in your sourcing are: it is important in 2024 to consider supply chain diversification. A lot of people who are located, let's say, in Singapore, they don't only sell in Singapore, they sell in other countries as well. And this is why Amazon is great. For example, we sell in Europe, so we do pan-European. We started off in Germany, but it can be sold anywhere in Europe. And based on this, we need to make sure that we get our products in as fast as possible with the best quality and price. And also we need to make sure that we are not stopped in our tracks by any financial crisis, by the next corona, by, God forbid, another war. So supply chain diversification is extremely important in today's day and age. And even if you sell in Singapore, there are many countries around where you can do the sourcing other than China. For example, we're transferring a lot of our customers to Indonesia right now, to Vietnam, to Malaysia even. You can't imagine the products you can produce there. This gets to the point of nearshoring. Nearshoring is manufacturing your products as close to the country of sale as possible. So if you sell in Singapore, manufacturing, let's say in Indonesia, awesome, right? Very close, your financial turnaround, very fast, very nice, and you have better control over your manufacturing. If you're selling in US, one of the top countries people are trying to choose right now is Mexico, right? That's nearshoring, so they transfer from China to Mexico. Working on your BOM. BOM stands for Bill of Materials. It is important to understand what goes into the work of manufacturing your actual product. It is not only the parts and pieces, but it is also the use of electricity, the use of machinery, the use of human labor, right? So we need to understand what goes where. And if you understand, if you talk to your manufacturer and see what is what, you can try and optimize your existing costs together with the manufacturer. We always need to remember that you are in it to make money. If that is not, if you're going to tell me, no, I'm just having fun, that's a lie, right? At the end of the day, we create a business in order to make money. You're in it to make money. Manufacturer is in it to make money as well. You need to have that understanding. So there's only a certain point until which you can negotiate with the manufacturer, because they also need to make money, and you need to realize that. A few other things to mention for 2024. Please try to plan ahead for a full year. I don't care if you've been selling on Amazon for 10 years or you're just considering to actually start the business. You need to do good, sufficient research to see how much stock you need to plan out throughout the year. You can do this based on your competitors, right? There are many tools out there that are built within Amazon. There are some outside tools like Helium 10 that you can use to see how much your competitors are selling. And with that in mind, you can plan for a full year ahead and see how much money you actually need to spend on purchasing your products. One of the ways, if you already are selling, one of the ways to kind of optimize your costs would be to try and sign annual contracts with your manufacturers. An annual contract means you come to the manufacturer and say, oh, I have these headphones and I want to sell these headphones, and I'm going to sell 10,000 pieces in the year of 2024. But I don't want to buy directly all 10,000 pieces. I want to take them, bit by bit by bit. So this is what an annual contract is. You sign with the manufacturer and tell them all throughout the year, I will buy out the 10,000 pieces, right? So you commit to this. They buy enough raw material for it, so it's cheaper for them. It's better pricing for you, and you purchase it out in parts, right? First purchase out can be 1,000 pieces, 1,500, etc., etc. This really helps to control your costs and definitely improve the relationship with the manufacturers. And renegotiations, this can be based on the bill of materials. And in general, if you already have existing suppliers, it's very important to keep them on their toes. I give you a wonderful example. We have a manufacturer with whom for our products we've been working for 7 years. Right? If in those 7 years we would not have tried to renegotiate, our margin would be maybe 20% lower than what it is right now. What we did is we went to other manufacturers to have a conversation with them to say, hey guys, how much is this going to cost us, right? What is it? What if I'm going to place an order with you? And we get samples, we get prices, etc., etc. We still like our manufacturer, but he needs an incentive to give us a better price if he can, and he could. So we came with all of our samples, with all of our prices from other manufacturers to our existing manufacturer. The first thing, all of the manufacturers in China specifically, well, actually, let's take in Asia, say is, yeah, their price is cheaper because their quality is not as good. And we're like, we actually have a sample. The quality is exactly the same like yours, maybe a little bit better. Then they kind of, you break the system, and this is when the people start negotiating. If you have a great manufacturer, stick with them, but it doesn't mean you should not keep them on their toes and explore what else is out there in order to make sure that you have the best outcome for yourself. So let's jump into how you can find manufacturers. I would assume a lot of you guys probably consider China, and you would use Alibaba or Yaoliubaba, so 1688, in order to do your product sourcing, which is not a bad thing. A lot of people say, oh, Alibaba, bad, oh, horrible. No, anything and everything has its good things about it and bad things about it. And this goes a long way for Alibaba as well. I think for a lot of entrepreneurs out there who are trying to start something on their own and who are very, very limited in their funding, basically in the money that they can invest, Alibaba and a few other platforms across the globe that are free, they're a tremendous help. If you know how to use it properly, and if you know how to veto the manufacturers properly and the questions to ask, even that resource is good. So if you're trying to do sourcing on your own and you're trying to understand how this works in the first place, and I do always suggest that people try things out on their own, at least a little bit, to see how easy it is for them or how hard it is for them. So Alibaba, if you're doing China, is a great platform to start. There are about other 50 plus platforms across the globe that work in the same way that Alibaba does. For example, Alibaba recently purchased Europages and WLW in Germany. So those are similar platforms. There are a few more that are popping up across the world and a few more that are AI platforms. However, fully AI platforms, I would not suggest to you because they're usually very expensive and they're not as good as they think they are. So one of the other places of how you can potentially find manufacturers, and this especially goes if you're trying to find something outside of China, are social media channels, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. I assume all of you have smartphones. I assume all of you use Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, depending on your age, it can be any social media medium. We post photos, we look what others do, videos, etc., etc. When manufacturers go on different trade shows, or they would like to find in general customers, they start using social media as well. If you look at my Instagram or if you look at my LinkedIn, you will see that a few days ago I was in Las Vegas for Prosper Show. A few days before that, I was in Budapest in Hungary for another show. A month ago, I was in New York, and then I was also in Orlando for other 2 trade shows where I was a speaker and we were exhibiting as well. So we are putting this information out so people can find us right there on the spot, but so people can find us online as well. Manufacturers do exactly the same thing. So you can simply go on any social media platform and type in a name of a country and maybe the product or the material that you're looking for, out of which the product is made out. And this way you can potentially find manufacturers because they would post, hey, I was here at this trade show with my peeps, or whatever the slang is. And this can really be helpful for you on finding manufacturers. We found some very interesting trade shows, for example, in Indonesia, in Jakarta, only because they were posting on Instagram. Their website is horrible. It's not SEO optimized. So the only way we could find them was through Instagram, and we went for a trade show and it was amazing. So this is a great way. Another wonderful way are, of course, sourcing trips. Sourcing trips to China. There's Canton Fair coming up in April and in May. So if you are looking for an inspiration, if you're looking for already specific products and manufacturers, sourcing trips are also a great idea. Again, especially if you're thinking about sourcing from China, Canton Fair, great option. We led a Canton Fair sourcing trip last year, 2023. We're doing it again this year. Last year we had about 30 people. This we will have a little bit more, and people are going around, and it's like when you go to Universal Studios in Singapore, it's like an attraction park. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It gives you a lot of inspiration, but at the same time, you have 80,000 manufacturers exhibiting with numerous product categories throughout the 3 stages of a Canton Fair. So this actually, if you guys are in Singapore or somewhere around, this can be a wonderful opportunity of finding a new product that you already established, so finding a manufacturer for them or getting inspiration. I go to Canton Fair mostly for inspiration because there's so much innovation, it's insane, right? So this is a great way. There are many different types of sourcing trip to other countries as well. If you don't have the time or can't afford to go on a sourcing trip, a great way is scouting the websites of different trade shows. I give you a wonderful example. One of the biggest toy trade shows in the world, like toys for children, right, is happening once a year in the city of Nuremberg in Germany. You don't want to go to Germany. Germany is a horrible country. You don't like the food. I don't know. You just can't make it there. So how can you find out about the manufacturers? It's very easy. You go online, you find the trade show, and you look at the past exhibitors list. Or you look, if the trade show is about to happen, they will have an updated exhibitors list. And you will find hundreds and hundreds of exhibitors from many different countries that are exhibiting at this toy trade show. The same goes for pretty much any trade show in the world. It's always better to be kind of on the ground and have your feet on the ground there. But if there is no opportunity for you to do this, then for sure, looking through the websites of the trade shows is, it works very well. In general, I've mentioned other kind of social media mediums. If you have some local connections, if you found a factory, let's say in Malaysia, to manufacture latex gloves, right? But this is not the exact product that you want, but it's something similar, and your manufacturer that you found, they can't do it. Don't be afraid to ask them, hey guys, you can't do this, but do you know anybody who can? Can you give us any reference? Can you help us out with this? And you'd be surprised that most of the time, factories give you actually a reference on somebody else who can be of help to you if they can't. So still have time, okay? So getting to kind of the main part of what do you do when you actually doing the sourcing. One of the most important things is you need to make sure that you actually get enough of the proposals coming from various manufacturers. Most of the people that I communicate with, they say, oh my God, I have contacted these 3 manufacturers and the pricing is horrible and the 2 of them are not answering and I don't know what to do. And I'm like, you contact 3 manufacturers and you complain? Sorry for example, the blunt, but come on. When we work, the average number of manufacturers we contact would be about 30, right? So 30 for one product or one product category. When we do sourcing outside of China, we contact 60. Why? Because we found that this number gives us a very good spread on what is actually happening on the market. Prices go up and down all the time. So you need to make sure you have the right price. So please, if you don't have the capability, if you're doing sourcing on your own, if you don't have the time, the capability of reaching out to 30 or 60 manufacturers, at least do half, 15 in China and about 30 in other countries. It doesn't mean that the first price you get will not be the best price, but you will know it will be the best price and you will know you did the best for it. Manufacturer or a trading company. A lot of people say trading company bad, trading company no good, should not work with them. You know, it's a stick with kind of 2 ends on it, and you need to decide this for yourself. What I like to tell people, especially the ones who are just starting out, have never sold a product, or they're trying to launch a new product and they don't want to make too many optimizations or too many, things of their own on the product. Sometimes trading company can be a blessing because they might have stock, meaning you will be able to launch faster. And if you don't want to do anything personalized in there, you know, they already got it. They have to sell it. So sometimes their price is the same as the manufacturers. So trading companies can also be a blessing in certain situations, as I've just mentioned. Background checks. I don't care where the manufacturer is based. It is extremely important to do background checks. It sounds very fancy, and it can be very fancy, but it can also be done by you personally, by simply requesting the documentation from the manufacturer, asking them, hey guys, can you please give me your company registration certification? They're gonna say, oh, maybe it's in German or something like this. Say, that's not a problem. I have a translator, right? You can even take, you take the, on your phone, you open Google Translate, they think the scene with the photo, and then it gives you all of the translations. Or you hire a person on Upwork for $10 who will tell you what this certification says and if it's valid, etc., etc. This way, especially with the Chinese manufacturers, you can check a lot if they're a trading company or a manufacturer or both, right? Because a lot of people who work especially with China, they're like, oh, I'm working with the manufacturer. They tell us in 2 minutes, we tell them, nope, this is not a manufacturer. And it's really, really easy to check. Also, there are many different websites that you can use online in order to check on actually, do the manufacturers sell abroad? So you can use such websites as Import Yeti, Panjiva, Import Genius, right? They have some free capability. It's in a free version. You have some capabilities. So if you know the name of the manufacturer, you can put it in there and it will show you data to which countries have they sold before, which can be very, very useful for you. And you can say to the manufacturer, hey guys, you sold here and there. Can you tell me who the customer is? They're going to say no. It shows who the buyer is. Sure that a manufacturer in China, look at their webpage, right? If you're looking at the German manufacturer, US, even Indonesia, a lot of them, they're going to have a bad webpage. But does bad webpage equal bad company? Absolutely not. We need to understand that everybody in today's age is, how I say it, is very busy and important. A lot of people, they have so much work going on, they forget about the basic things like updating their own website. A lot of people, especially in the European countries, you can see websites from like 90s, and you think, how do you sell? How are you the second largest manufacturer of toys in Germany if your website, it has a contact information that is not even valid anymore? So bad web page doesn't always mean a bad company. It just means that people do not pay attention to this. So it's always important to call with the manufacturer and ask them, hey guys, can you provide me the most updated catalog? Can you tell me what else can you do, with the products? What machinery maybe you have? What capabilities you have? So calling and talking with the manufacturer is always very, very important. You need to make sure your manufacturer is flexible, not only in terms of pricing, but during your general communication. What I always say is working with the manufacturer, this is a relationship. This is like a marriage. If any of you are married, it's not that the woman is always right, even though we are, joking, of course, but there always needs to be a compromise at some point. Sometimes you need to say, all right, I'm wrong, let's do it kind of this way. And sometimes your partner needs to say this to you. And this is the same relationship that you need to work out with the manufacturer if you're looking for long-term partnerships. Sometimes you need to say, all right, we're going to do it your way. Maybe this time you can't lower down the price, but next time they will be able to do. So this is the flexibility that needs to come from both sides. The flexibility and willingness to adjust to changes that come along. Because you need to understand and you need to explain this to your manufacturer that you're in the same boat, right? That you're in this together. You want to make money, but you want your manufacturer to make money as well. Sometimes when we talk to our potential manufacturers for our brand or for our customers' brands, we say, look, we can give you tons of examples where people started off their Amazon business or e-commerce business as just a side hustle. They placed the first order for a few hundred or a few thousand pieces. Now they're at the point a few years later where the customer is selling for 30 million euros and the factory is building additional facilities to make sure they can accommodate this existing customer who grew like crazy, and they grew together, and because they're getting new clients as well, right? So again, you need to tell to the manufacturer what is it in it for them except just the money. Just the money, wonderful, but you need to show them that you can have a wonderful future together, and you can. I see a lot of those things happening. So products possible at all. Again, this is in reference to the web page. What you see in the web page does not necessarily mean they're currently doing these products, and that does not necessarily mean they're not currently doing your products. So this is why call, make sure that you communicate with people and have that information. Yes, there is more. Again, 30 minutes is not enough. My last webinar was 3 hours, and that was barely scratching the surface. Means of contact. In different countries, means of contacting the manufacturers are very different. In China, yes, you can directly go on Alibaba. You can also find them through WeChat, easy peasy. So different countries like to communicate in different ways. And you can find that out as easy as simply going on Google and finding out, what are the means of communication that are preferred in a certain country. And this will very much help you in reaching out to that manufacturer and getting the responses that you require. You need to be very careful if you're working with a sourcing agent or a sourcing company. my suggestion, only work with the companies that give you full access to your manufacturers. You need to be in a full control. Again, I'm a seller myself. There are many things that affect our sales, right? And our manufacturing should not be one of them. We should have full 100% control over what is happening on that side. So I never suggest working on commission, or I never suggest working with the sourcing agents or agencies that do not give you full access to your manufacturers, right? This is bad. This is not the way to work. So offers versus what happens really in production. Please always make sure to get what is called a golden sample, right, before launching into mass production. And secondly, make sure that when you do have mass production, that you conduct quality control of that mass production that will be compared against your golden sample. We had now he's our customer. Before he was just a friend. He received the sample. Everything was great. He was selling in Germany. Sample was amazing. He went into mass production. He paid all in all around about 100,000 euros, which is about 110,000 Sing dollar for the total of mass production. The goods have arrived in Germany. They went into Amazon and he started receiving very, very bad reviews. He had to pull everything out. He had to recheck all the stock. It all was basically useless. He needed to dispose of it all. The factory, because he did not have the correct terms and conditions in his invoice with the factory said, nope, we're not going to do anything. So he lost the 100,000 euros. And in addition to this, he had to pay when you take items out of Amazon, you need to pay for this as well, right? Because it's work for them, which is fair. But in addition to this, because it had electronic components in it, he needed to dispose in a very correct way, from the products. So he had to pay an additional 20,000 euros to dispose of the products so he lost 120K, many months of time, simply for the reason because he didn't pay 350 bucks for mass production quality control. And this is insane, right? So please always do quality control of the mass production before shipping your products. This will save you a lot of grief. I know what I'm talking about. When you're talking to the manufacturers, sometimes the guys, this is specifically for outside of China, they will tell you, oh yes, we produce this. Usually it comes from China. So you need to dig deep to make sure the product is produced where they say it is produced. Where indeed the product is produced, right? We need to make sure that we know where the product is produced. One of the indicators of where you can see the product is produced is how long the production time takes. If somebody tells you it takes 6 to 7 weeks, you know that the product most likely comes from a different country. MOQ, so minimum order quantities and payment terms. There are many different payment terms that can be done, in many different countries. If we go for China, the standard one in the beginning is 30% deposit and 70% balance payment after the mass production is done, but before the products are shipped. Usually we try, depending on how much you're ordering, from our side, we usually try to negotiate better payment terms after second or third order. So if you have payment terms, for example, 20% deposit and 80% balance payment after 1 month after shipment, this is great, right? Because your financial turnaround is actually faster. So don't marry a stranger. I've already explained this. This is a long-term relationship, compromises, marriage kind of thing. How much time do I still have, if I have any?
Yeah, it's still have time. We have time for maybe about 5-10 minutes. Yeah.
All right, so one of the very important things to do is to make sure to explain the manufacturers before you start working with them. And I'm not explain this to every manufacturer that you're potentially talking with. But the ones that you, let's say you contacted 15, right? You didn't go for 30, you contacted 15. And you narrowed it down to the top 3 because of the prices, and you ordered samples from them, etc., etc. The manufacturers need to understand your goals. You need to explain them your business. Where are you going? What are your plans for the future? A lot of manufacturers, they don't understand still that you can sell on Amazon. A lot of Chinese manufacturers, of course, know about this, but the ones outside of China, not so much, right? And what I sometimes do is we take some screenshots from, different tools like Helium 10 to see how much the the competitors are actually selling, and we can show this to our manufacturers and say, this is the niche that I want to enter. They're selling for $1 million per month. I want to take 20% of that market or something like this, right? So explain Amazon to them as well. Explain your goals, meaning what are you planning to do with your business in the future, that you're planning to grow it for the next 5 years and then sell it, or you just want to have it as a side hustle, but you still want to make enough money for it to turn into your kind of main business. Explain your margins. A lot of people think that if you buy for $5 and then you sell for 50, that you're making a tremendous amount of money. And that can be true, but at the same time, you need to be realistic because you have a lot of different Amazon fees. You have the advertising costs, shipping costs, etc., etc. So first of all, you need to understand what your real margins are going to be, and you need to explain those margins to your manufacturer, because if they see you buy for 5 and sell for 50, they think, oh my God, they're gonna make like $45 on this. That's not true, right? So they need to understand how much you're actually going to be making, because when they see this, they will have a lot more sympathy for you, and they will be able to help out to optimize your costs. So, and I already mentioned the point about what are they getting additionally from your orders, right? So what is the future development between yourself and the manufacturer? It is very important to ask some questions to the factory as well. So, and again, I don't care where the factory is located. These are kind of common for anywhere in the world. How old is the factory, right? How long they've been on the market? What markets are they covering? Where are they shipping to? Can they share some of their customers, right? Or even better, if the customer is already selling on Amazon, can you share some of those links so you can actually see the reviews from the people who are buying, right, and selling that product, so you can see what the problems are. What are their capacities? You always need to plan for the future. What if you're selling out like crazy and your factory cannot support you? So you need to understand factory's capacities, and you always need to have a backup factory in case, again, you exploded and you need more and more units. Who is managing the factory? How are they managing it? How long have they been managing it for? What is the future for this particular organization? So the same thing that you're sharing with them about your business, they need to share with you as well. How many production lines they have, how many people they have. It's very common to actually, especially if you're working with Chinese factories, it's very common to jump on a WeChat video call, so they lead you through the factory. All right, if they lead you through the factory, it still might not be true. They still might be lying. They still might have gone to one of their partner factories, but at least you get some information. Here, you need to catch them in the moment. You don't need to warn them. Tomorrow at 1 p.m. China time, I will call you. Please take me through the factory. No, 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 no. Don't do that. Call them right now and say on the video call, oh, you're in office, awesome. Please lead me through the factory. If the person is going to make too many excuses, they're not a factory, they're most likely a trading company or something like this. So there are little tricks in the industry. And again, future plans for the company, for the manufacturer. Are they planning to develop even more on their R&D department? Are they planning to move the factory to Vietnam or anything? Because you need to understand who you're working with. I think I'm just going to quickly give you some, guys, you can probably take screenshots or photos of this. We know we can produce a lot of different types of products in China, What I wanted to give you is some more information on what other products, what products actually can be produced in Europe and in America. For example, it's household, food supplements, wooden products, textile, chemicals for home and garden. So a huge amount, right? Also, you can produce a lot of products in LATAM, in the Latin America region. Also, packaging, electronics, sugar, soaps, plastics, household and kitchen, tons of products. Again, you can just take a screenshot of this. And yes, I have another one, more products in Latin America. I'm looking a lot at Latin America because of the proximity to US, and a lot of people, even if they sell in Singapore or around Southeast Asia or even in China, a lot of them, they move to the US market because this one is the most mature, right? So diversification matters in this case. And here are a few more examples of the products or materials out of which products can be made as well from many different countries in Europe and a few countries in Asia as well. This is cosmetics, this is different types of tools, knives. I love knives, right? Knives, you have like Germany, like this one city of Zolln, you can produce all the knives, or you can go to Japan, where sometimes it takes them 50 days to produce one knife. So yeah, I mean, this is not even scratching the surface of what can be produced where. Yeah, that's pretty much all of the basic information. Again, I can go for another 10 hours, but I have a time limit here. If you guys ever have any questions, you can always find me on LinkedIn. It's Yulia Blinova, or just you can find Zignify Global Product Sourcing and you can find me there. If you have any questions, any advice, any suggestions, or anything like this, we would be always happy to help and in general, you know, provide some information. The goal here is to give you value overload and give you information where you can start doing things on your own, because some of the basic things everybody should be doing on their own and understanding on you know, how complicated it is or how easy it is. You know, I hate doing Amazon listings. Ugh, this is not my thing. That's why I don't do them. I hire someone to do this for me, right? Photos, we also hire somebody to do photos and A+ content because their company specialize on it and they do research. They know what people want and need, because what I think is very different from what the general public, from what the target group that you're selling to thinks. So yeah, that's pretty much it for now.
All right, thank you, Yulia. Thank you so much. There was so much of insight, at least for myself as a small-time seller. So I'm gonna take back the control, and then we'll go through the rest of the presentation. I think we definitely have time for some extension since it's such a wonderful topic. All right, I just shared back my screen. I'm going to share some of the Seller University resources that we have over here. There are 2 QR codes. You can take a screenshot. You can watch the recording. No worry. There's some starter guide for new product launch. And then we're going to move on to the live Q&A right now. So there's quite a lot of questions. I think for those common ones, we might not focus too much. We will just focus on those that, which really require your expertise in that. All right, so question 1. So what are the options in terms of shipping globally if I'm from Philippines? Are there any legal paperwork that we need to, all right, and then it got cut off? So for this one, yeah, Yulia, go ahead.
So look, Amazon, they have their own shipping and logistics company that you can use. I'm going to be open and honest, it's not always the best option. Yeah, because building a shipping network is a pain in your tushy. You need many years and you need many wonderful partners. So you can use tons of different shipping and logistical freight forwarders, right? That can help you ship from Philippines to anywhere in the world. A lot of different companies, they specialize on certain routes. So let's say company ABC, they specialize on shipping from Philippines to USA, and this is why they buy out space on this ship and that ship every single day, right? Because they buy spaces on the ships. So there are many different options. My suggestions is simply in the beginning, if you want to do things on your own, go on Google and type in freight forwarders, shipping from Philippines to whatever the destination was. There is tons of paperwork, but the logistical company, the freight forwarders, they always take care of that paperwork. One thing I need to for sure mention, there is such a term in shipping that's called DDP. It means duty paid. That means you pay everything to your forwarder. You don't even need to pay taxes when the goods arrive. This is a shipping method that you should not use. It is not illegal, it's legal. But especially, unfortunately, in China, the Chinese manufacturers and forwarders, they sometimes declare the wrong HS code, right? And HS code is used to identify what import tax you need to pay. They use a different HS code. So the money they're making is more because they pay less import tax for you. I have a friend, she has been in e-commerce for 19 years. She used to do DDP, duty paid, from China to US. And at some point, the IRS, the Internal Revenue Services, same like we got in Singapore, they came to her and you said, this one SKU, your forwarder has been declaring the wrong HS code, so you owe us $2.5 million right now because of the difference. And by law, kind of, when the forwarder, when you pay them DDP, duty paid, they don't need to disclose to you which HS code they're using, right? So if you're shipping, please ship DDU, duty unpaid, meaning everything will be included door to door, but you will need to be additionally paid the import tax for the products when they come in. Other legal paperwork is always done by the forwarders. So there's information that's provided by the factory. They know what to provide, and the forwarders know what to ask for and to provide. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Yulia, next question. How to find a profitable product? Maybe is there like 3 quick tips on this?
Yeah. So first of all, search on more than one market. Every market is different. For example, in Singapore, we use electric kettles, right? This is something like coffee machine, electric kettle. If you go to US, electric kettle is not something that is part of the everyday people's lives. They warm up, still a lot of them, they warm up the water on the stove, right? With the, so electric kettle is a new thing. Now it's gaining, just now it's gaining popularity in the US. So understand your market. Go into the niche where there are 20 sellers who have my suggestion is try to base your research on the US market, because US market is usually kind of a step ahead, even if you want to sell in Singapore. Make sure the product doesn't have over 200, maybe 300 reviews from the sellers that are on the market there. So it needs to be under 300 reviews. That means you still have an opportunity to enter this market. Make sure that you try to calculate that you have 6x, right? So this is a good formula. If you're selling a product, if you want to sell a product for 60, divide by 6, you need to buy it for the landed cost to be maximum at 10. Most likely that's not going to happen. The average on the market right now is actually 4. But if you have like this 6 times, this is very, very good. You need to make sure, and this is where the tools, Amazon tools and tools like Helium 10 come in, the sellers that are on the market, again, I'm specifically talking US here, that they should be selling at least $10,000 to $20,000 per month. If they're selling under it, it's still good, because that means the market has not been penetrated well yet. But if you have 20 sellers who have thousands of reviews and they sell for like 500K per month, don't go in there, right? So these are some basic tips look at the reviews for sure, but you need to look at the BSR as well. So number of competitors on the market, what is the sales price, number of reviews should be under 300. So these are kind of the basic things. Yeah.
Cool, thank you. Right, next one, where do I source supplier optimally? I think you pointed out quite a few already. So is there anything else you want?
For the wholesale, you need to find distributors, right? Because wholesale, we're selling the products that are name brands. For example, Dove, right? Or Nivea or something like this. So in this case, you will not be able to directly buy from the manufacturers because the companies are way too big. So your only option is to find distributors. Sourcing for distributors, go on Google, go on LinkedIn, yeah, get in touch with them, distribute, and they give you different prices. You can also source distributors in the regions that are not yours. So for example, we had a customer in Dubai who needed to buy Dove, Nivea, and all of those things, but all of the distributors in Dubai, they were out of stock. We found a distributor in Kazakhstan and brought the products over from Kazakhstan to Dubai, right? So use your imagination.
Thank you, thank you. The next one is, may I know how much is the average investment of a startup on Amazon and how much is the minimum capital I need to start?
It depends on how many things you're going to do on your own and how many things you're going to outsource. Look back in the day, and there's still those videos on YouTube. Please do not believe them. Buy for 2, sell for 20. It's, you know, this time has passed. Look, it can vary from a few thousand to infinity and beyond. Right? When we were launching our first brand 10 years ago, the investment was, I don't know, like $1,000. We did the sourcing, or we did everything on our own. It was $1,000 and a lot of our time. So it depends on what you want to outsource. But if you, let's say, if you want to do everything on your own, sourcing, listing, photos, etc., this will save you a lot of money. So the only money you will actually need to spend are on product purchasing and shipping. And that depends on your product. If you're buying a product for $2 and you're buying 1,000 pieces, then you spend 2,000 plus shipping a few $100. So again, it can be from $1,000 and up, depending on how much you're doing on your own.
Right, thank you. Let me see. Question 5. Okay, I can take that. So this is the Amazon Partner Carrier. So I do have an upcoming webinar on this. So do attend that. I will tell you, step by step on how you can set it up on the Seller Central. All right. Number 6, tips on how to get started and be successful in Amazon. I'm not sure, is there anything you want to add on this?
Yes, have a network. So Amazon, as any business, to be honest, can be a very lonely journey. When we started off 10 years ago and we were living in Singapore, there were no meetups, there were no people doing this or anything like this. We did not have a community where we could ask questions. We did not have a community where we can get some support. So one of the important things, yes, the time investment and your dedication, 100%, but community, right? Like last year, Amazon, there was an event in October. Amazon was doing, and I think you guys might be doing another event this year, and there will be some pre-event and meetups and things like this. So, but attend meetings, whatever you can find within your location, talk to people online, and participate in some free Facebook groups as well. There are tons of free Facebook groups. So, and find people who are on the same wave, and you can guys push each other, right? Because if somebody does not if you don't have responsibility towards others, people tend to relax, right? So find a community and find people where you guys push each other. So that is something big that I found for everybody in the community.
Great tip, great tip. Remember, we do have a lot of in-person event in like Philippines, Singapore as well. Remember to check out on our official Facebook. All right, so what is the most bought item in Amazon worldwide? I'm not sure, is that a question that Yulia want to address this?
Well, you can't have like one item that is maybe there is one item, but Amazon will never tell us, haha. You have certain categories of products that are most popular. It's still electronics and it's still clothing, right? Cosmetics is coming up, and pet products are coming up as well. But electronics tends to kind of stay one of the top things in the world. No, I can't tell you which product exactly because, yeah.
All right, thank you. Now, for those who have access to Opportunity Explorer, I'll give you some things to do. You can go in to find, like what Yulia mentioned, every category, what is the top sales volume in the past, 90 days, example. So, you can do your own research on that. All right, question: recommended bank account to use in purchasing online in US retail stores. So, yeah, I would say if you can buy online, I think any credit card, you don't need a bank account, if I'm not wrong. So unless
Exactly,
you
you need a credit card. And
all right.
but if you're doing so, if you're trying to do buy from retail and then resell on Amazon, like the arbitrage, make sure the credit card has points, right? Like Amex. So get Amex, because you can use Amex for your CPC, for your advertising, and you get points from this, and then you fly business class on Singapore Airlines, right? And who doesn't like to fly business class on Singapore Airlines? So and like tons of businesses are doing this, right? I know some companies who spend like $2 million on ads on Amazon per month, but they're huge. So you can imagine how many points they accumulate.
Thank you. All right, question 9: how to become part of Amazon seller, how it works, what is the process? All right, for this, right, we have a webinar on registration guidance and how we can get started. So do watch that recording. If not, look for upcoming webinars. All right, question 10: any solution for profitability amidst fierce competition and increasing inflationary pressure in manufacturing contracts?
My suggestion, stop. So a lot of people are starting to create brands versus just doing private label. The world is changing. We start caring about the environment. We start caring about what we put on as our clothes, what we put inside of us, what we put on our face and body. So what we see from our customers, and this is thousands of customers, a lot of people are switching from dirt cheap mass production products to something a little bit more unique and more expensive. So a lot of people are switching to sell from the product point $50 and above. So more expensive products. Before, again, as I've mentioned, those YouTube videos, easy products, buy for 2, sell for 20. A lot of people are turning around now to the products that have high barrier to entry, meaning a lot more certification are needed, maybe a lot more research in the beginning, etc., etc. So the harder it is to source this product, the more likely you're to have less competition, right? For example, our second brand, we sell skincare for men. So you need a lot of certification, but it's all made in Germany, right? So our factories have the certification, but if people from other countries will try to enter, oof, not good. So this has to do like higher pricing products, more certification, right? Try to make your product more unique, try to make changes, don't do just private label. People are looking for better things. A lot of people are talking about Temu, right? Which is kind of competition to Amazon right now. And I always say there will be always people who buy cheap stuff, always. And plus Temu steals Amazon listings. People who worked on their photos and stuff like this, they steal it and they put it on Temu. But that's a different story, and Temu is being sued for this right now. But there will always be people who buy cheap crap, and there's nothing wrong with this. But there are a lot more people right now who prefer to save a little bit of money and buy a better quality, longer lasting product. So higher products in higher price and more certification for a barrier to entry.
Thank you. Very great insight. So 4 more to go. What documentation would I need to successfully send my product to the US if I'm doing FBA and shipping product from China? So I would think this is more relevant to the logistic provider that you are engaging.
No, we do logistics as well. So for me, this is easy to answer. So when there can be many different documents that will be required, but the first things first is if you need to have all of the correct barcodes on your product and on your boxes. So this, when you create a shipping in your Amazon account for your product, all of those need to be printed out and given to your manufacturer, and they will put it on all of the boxes. Otherwise, Amazon is not going to accept them. They're not going to open them and put them on the shelf. So, but in generally, the basic documentation that will be required are your pro forma invoice and your packing list that will be provided by your manufacturer. This information will be given to the forwarder, based on which the forwarder will calculate what is the price for the shipping, if it's air freight, if it's sea freight, right? Sea freight, of course, is a lot cheaper. And we also will see which way the shipment is going. Is it going the Pacific route, meaning from China to the west coast of US, and then they get it off the ship and it's last mile tracking, or it goes through Panama Canal, but Panama Canal is dry right now, so they have a lot of traffic there, or it goes the other way through Suez Canal, war in Israel, etc., also a bit problematic, but they let through the Chinese ships. So pro forma invoice and packing list is given to your forwarder. The forwarder will prepare the rest of the information and will give you a bill of lading. That's it. So these are the basics. If you have a certain product that requires certification in order for it to be sold, for example, if you're selling a medical product in US, you will require FDA. This is just a certification you should have on hand. This is not generally checked by the customs, right? Very, very rarely, if they stop you, they will ask you to send these documents, but it's all done online. Yeah, and the shipment can be sent directly from the manufacturer in China to the Amazon FBA warehouse, the one that was assigned to you when you did the labeling in your store on Amazon. Yeah.
Cool. All right, next one. Hello, my listing is deactivated due to IPv attack from competitor that is false. How do I resolve it? Do you have any idea on this, Julia?
Yeah, I have some contacts. If you want to get in touch with me, trust me, our listings get deactivated all the time as well. When you sell well, you got a problem. You can drop me a message on LinkedIn. I can share the contact information with you, because need to know where the listing is located in which country, because there are different people that specialize in different countries. US law is different, for example, from Germany, from Singapore. You can drop me a message on LinkedIn, and I will share a contact with you of the person who you can get in touch, and they deal specifically with that. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. All right, the next one. I don't know what should I do to list my product and how to do the research. Hope can assist me. I think Yulia mentioned you're somebody who doesn't like to do listing, but don't worry, I have a demo, a real actual demo in one of my webinars on how can you create a listing from scratch. So do check that out. All right, next one. Is there any time frame that a seller should list first product to keep the account active? Maybe I can take this as you do not have to list a product to keep your account active. Just make sure you log in every other day so that it won't be detected as dormant. If it's detected as dormant, meaning that you did not log in frequently, you may be triggered the account re-verification process again. All right.
If I might add on this, so listing, like, just starting your Amazon sellers account, this is easy, right? The next stage comes is when you're creating your listing. Please be 100% certain that your listing is not activated. It's not active until your goods have been booked into the Amazon warehouse. There is such thing, and you can find, like, there are tons of videos. You guys might also on Amazon have it. What we call the golden period. All right, the golden period is like this, basically first 30 days when you launch your product, because this is when Amazon collects data about your listing, about your product, how many people are clicking organically, ads, etc., etc. So only officially activate your listing so people can see it when the products have already arrived, when they have been booked, and when the sales have started. with our frost product ages ago, right? We had the mistake, like we activated the listing when the products were not even there. So the data that Amazon saw, oh shit, oh sorry, oh crap, the people are not least interested in this product, but people, it wasn't that they weren't interested. The products were not available. The listing was not showing, right? So, and it wasn't showing because there was no stock that has arrived yet. So only activate, like say active, it can sell your listing when your goods have been booked into Amazon. Don't lose your golden period. And you can Google the golden period on Amazon and you will see more information. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So this is the last pre-input question. What are cheapest cargo services from China to USA?
One of the companies that I can recommend, so you can try and use Amazon Logistics for sure as well. The Amazon, the AGL, they're not bad, but they can be a little bit slow sometimes for certain reasons. So other options would be a company called Unicargo. Unicargo, they're also like they're Amazon SPN, like we are Amazon SPN, so Service Partner Network. So Unicargo, they're a good company. I know them very well. They work with tons of Amazon sellers, startups, and the huge aggregators. Honestly, there are tons more companies. When we ship, we usually get quotations from like 10 to 12 different companies, but Unicargo is usually one of those who kind of wins on the prices, specifically from China to the USA. If you're shipping from China to other countries, I would suggest some different companies. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So some other webinars we have, everybody knows this already, I hope. So we're just gonna go through the live question. There's actually quite a fair bit of the question that was shared here. I will just read it. I'm not sure if you can see, but I'm gonna read it out. All right, the first one is, hi Yulia, if I'm sourcing on my own, any tips on how to negotiate prices with suppliers? And based on your experience, how much room is there to negotiate with suppliers?
Yeah, I can see, I can read the questions in the chat as well. So one of the first things, and this is what I mentioned, guys, you need to talk with more than one manufacturer, with more than one supplier. And usually baiting one supplier against the other is a very good way. You need to understand your product, right? You need to understand what involves in the process of manufacturing your product, how many parts, which ones of those parts are actually produced by your manufacturer. So again, try to ask for bill of materials and try to get in touch with few other factories. If you can, please 30 in China, and then you will see what good prices are out there and you can negotiate with your existing manufacturer. Look, depending on the product, we have some products where we negotiated down 50%, right? We have other products where we negotiated down only 2%. It depends on many different inputs. But the first thing you need to see if negotiating with your existing manufacturer is possible in the first place. And in order to do this, you need to see what is out there on the market. When you see what others offer, only then you will be able to understand, can I get a lower price, yes or no?
Got it. All right, the next one, I'm just going to read it out for those who watching the recording, right? May I ask Yulia about product photography? Do the manufacturers often offer that service too? Any AI sites that she recommends, or still better to go with a product photographer?
So most of the manufacturers, they do not offer product photography. In China, it is more common, but it's like 1%, and I do not suggest to use them. There are tons of different photographers who can do the pictures with the white background. We do pictures for our customers with the background directly in China. AI services, of course, you can use ChatGPT. Oh, sorry, you can use ChatGPT to do the description, and then you can use Midjourney in order to do the photos, right? There are actually some trainings about this out there by Amy Weiss, W-E-E-S, so on creating the product and generating images. So yes, you can use Midjourney. Their services, there are tons of them, right? Depending on the countries that you're looking at, I can give you different suggestions. In US, there is a really cool company. They're called AMZ One Step. They do really, really good product photography. I have a few companies that I know that are kind of Singaporean as well. I can give a suggestion. But no, most of the manufacturers don't do product photography directly. You can also, if you're on a tighter budget, one of the things you can do is try to find a product photographer on Upwork, or you can try Fiverr as well. Fiverr, you can get, the results will be a little bit, on the lower quality side, but sometimes it's enough for the basic start. Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you. For
And
the next
to
one, right?
answer the question, I do still think it is better to go with the product photographer, right? Because we need to remember, it's not only, I tried to do Midjourney and tried to do AI, and there is a finger missing. The train is not standing straight, but like half. Yeah, it's still a long way. So we use for our images product photographers. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm gonna pick just a few more important ones because I may get kicked out soon. Yeah. All right, so okay, when setting the price with manufacturer, is it better to lock in the price for 1 year versus renegotiating after each shipment?
It depends on which country you're buying the products from. So look, for us, this is like futures, so futures on the stock market, right? The futures are locked in for the next year. So you know the rice costs right now 1 cent, and in 12 months it will still cost 1 cent. So you can project better. There are advantages and disadvantages to both. If I have an opportunity to lock the price for 1 year, I will lock the price in for 1 year. That's a simple answer for you. If you have a product that is extremely dependent on the fluctuations of the price of the raw material, then every 3 months might be more advantageous for you. But honestly, currently in the existing global economy, how often do we see prices go down? We see prices go up. So again, my suggestion is if you can lock in the price for 1 year, yes. If you're expecting your quantities to explode every 3 months, which will help you renegotiate the price down, then take it out every 3 months.
Got it. All right, thank you. Next question. As a seller, how do we protect ourselves from supplier who go missing in action? So, example, unable to seek refund as the sea shipment took longer than what the platform can protect us.
Yeah, so depending on the first of all, if they're gone, they're gone. This is why you need to veto the manufacturers properly beforehand. You need to, this is why I said use different import-export platforms to see who their other customers were, how much did they sell, etc., etc. Look at their documentation. You need to make sure that they're a solid company. Without this information, nothing's going to help. You have, for example, if you're buying from a manufacturer in China, Alibaba has trade assurance. Right? But honestly, it doesn't always work. I see more and more people complain about it, but it has some validity. So if you're doing from China, trade assurance is something that can be useful for you. Alibaba acts as an escrow service of sorts. So if the manufacturer is kind of gone or something like this, they will try to find them and they will try to give you the money back, etc., etc. Other than this, you need to do a proper check of the manufacturer beforehand. Doesn't matter where they're located. If you're trying to protect your products, please remember one thing. If you have unique products, never sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement in China. It always needs to be an NNN. So in China, NNN is valid. We actually, it should be in Chinese and in English. If it's on our website, you can find templates and you can download a free NNN if you guys want to use it for your manufacturers. But unfortunately, if you didn't pre-veto your manufacturer properly, following up on them later on, we went to the police. I've been to court in China a few times. So we called the police. That worked. We called the police onto the manufacturer and we showed up at the factory. So one of our girls, but we hired a guard for her kind of, because she's a woman, you know, going to a factory that doesn't respond and kind of escaped is not a good option. So also going down to the factory and saying, hello, what's up? And honestly, most likely they will not even know who you are, because most likely you work with some sort of agent who presented themselves as a factory worker, but is not.
Got it. Okay, so maybe one last question I pick up here, which I think it's important. So in terms of working with sourcing agent, what percentage range do they normally take a cut? Can I ask them to do product inspection?
Most of the, like, for example, we don't work on a percentage, we just work on an hourly base, right? And this is what I'm saying. When you work with someone on percentage, you most likely will not have a direct access to your manufacturers, which is not good. Most of the sourcing agents, they work 2 to 10%, depending on the total volume of your order. But again, think, if you're working with someone on percentage, they do not have your best interest. They want you to place an order as high as possible. I give you an example. We have a customer who is a famous TikToker. He started his own products right now. His sourcing agent with whom he works on commission told him, oh, minimum order quantity, 3,000 sets. So it's like $10,000 or something like this. Why? Because he gets commission from $10,000. When we started doing the sourcing, right now, instead of ordering 3,000 sets, we're ordering 1,000 sets, because the MOQ is actually 500, but it's too low for the customer. Sourcing agents, of course, they do quality control inspection. Look, we also do quality control inspection. You go on the ground, it's a full day. Make sure that you tell the agent everything that you think can go wrong, because it's very important to hear. Like, we always ask our customers, this is, or we tell them, this is what we're going to check, but we need to hear from you as well. What do you think can go wrong? Because this is your baby, this is your product. Nobody knows it better than you. So make sure the agent also knows, like, your, even if they might sound silly, but they need to know this.
Wow, wonderful.
Quickly,
All right.
patent search, always do. If you think the product has a patent, yes, do the search. Because if you start selling and it has a patent, you can say goodbye to everything you've done. There is a company, for example, called Kabylie Co. Cabilly, Kabylie Co. They can help you with the patent the research. Well, we actually also help with the patent research. It takes like a few hours and you have all the information. So easy.
Perfect. All right, now before we officially close, any last word of advice you would like to give to all our attendees today before we end it?
This can be a really wonderful path. It's not for everybody. And if you feel this is not something that you want to invest your time into, because it takes a lot of time, it takes weekends, it takes birthdays, etc., you should realize that it's not for everybody, but it can be really great. It can give you a lot of freedom and a lot of innovation and a lot of new good friends all across the globe. I've been on this path for 10 years. Again, this can be really great. Don't give up. If you really want to achieve something, it is better than it sometimes feels like. So good luck, and yeah, stay strong.
So if you have any question, do reach out to Yulia either through the QR code, schedule a call, or even connect with her directly on LinkedIn to get all your question addressed. I believe she will be the best person to help regarding your your sourcing ideas or anything. All right, so that's all today. Really appreciate for everyone's attendance and participation, and really thank you, Yulia, for spending your wonderful morning with us. The sellers here, thank you so much, and I hope that I'll be able to see you more in our future webinars. All right.
I'd be happy to help. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you everybody for listening.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Have a good
Thank
day,
you.
everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Yulia. Bye.